Nobody told me there were going to be too many of y'all today. But it's good to see y'all this morning. We are glad to have you. One of the things that I think that we do well is love on each other, but also love on those that visit us. And so we pray that when you leave here today, there will always be a special place in your heart for Rich Bible Fellowship. So thank you again for being here today. We are excited as young people. I got 7 gray hairs, so I'm moving closer and closer out of that. But I know that as of right now, I can still say that I'm in that category. And we're just excited to have you here with us today on our Youth Sunday. I'm so grateful to the Youth Praise team and to everyone that served at the door, all of our greeters and ushers, and even back in the AV booth. We are just so appreciative of you all being used by God. Okay, so today's message, as you can see, is entitled "Your Very Best." And what happens is, a lot of times, we associate God with good and comfortable, and we associate the devil with discomfort, pain, all those things that we don't like. A lot of times what we don't realize is that it's the opposite. When you're going through life and you're being challenged, that's God trying to cultivate and to grow you and to pull out what He built into you. That's right. And it's the enemy that says, you know what? Just chill. You got a good job, all your bills are paid, school's going well right now, mom ain't fussing at you this week, you got your room clean for the first time in a long time, you don't need to step out on nothing, you don't need to trust God for nothing, you're doing good, you're comfortable. But that's really not where God would have us to be. And in that place, we lose out on our opportunity to give God our very best. And so my prayer, my hope today is that we will all walk out of here motivated and challenged to go beyond where we are and really give God all we have, no matter what that looks like. All right? And so the story that we're going to use today comes from Daniel chapter 3. It's a very familiar story. So the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Took me about 20 years to say that right. But I finally got it. Alright, so in Daniel chapter 3 here, the king at this particular time is King Nebuchadnezzar. And King Nebuchadnezzar has created this golden image. And he said, whenever I sound the horn, everyone should bow down and worship my golden image. And so there comes this day, and the horn goes off, and everybody else bows and worships the golden image. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they're Christians. They believe in the one true God. They know that He is a jealous God. They know that they should put no other God before this God. And so they don't bow to worship this golden image. Now Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they worked in the palace. They were employees of the king. And so some of their co-workers ran and told the king. They said, oh king, oh great and wise king. You know, they were probably sucked up. You know, it's like, oh king, we just love your image, oh king. But we noticed that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't bow when the horn went off today. And so, of course, King Nebuchadnezzar, he's upset about that thing. He said, well, break them to me. So they come and they're standing before King Nebuchadnezzar, and he says, listen, I heard that you didn't bow before my image when the horn went off today. But he says, don't worry about it. And I'm a king of second chances. So I'm going to sound this horn again, right here, right now, and I'm going to need for you to bow and worship my golden image. And if you do not, I'm going to throw you in the fiery furnace. Now, why this king has a human-sized oven, I do not know. But we do know that he's willing to use. That's right. And so this is where we pick up at here in verse 16 of chapter 3. This is their response to the king. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer to you in this matter. If this be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace. And He will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up. Now, we're going to pause right there, and I just got to make sure that I wrap my head around what's going on. So, there's a golden image. There's a king that says, if you don't worship it, I'm going to have you killed by burning you. And then they stand before him and say, well, so what? Basically. So what? Let me be a body expert for a moment, if you don't mind, which I'm really not, but I'm going to do my best at it. So, if something was to poke me, if I had a needle and I took it and I stuck it in my hand, right? My hand would then send a message to my brain that said, you just got poked and it hurt, right? My brain would then send a message back to my hand that said, this is how you should react. It would probably be to pull back and say, ouch, right? If something were to go into my eyes, if I were to see something, my eyes would take a picture of it and then send it to my brain and say, well, this is what's happening. What should we do? My brain would then send a response to my eyes saying, look away, or look longer, or maybe it'll send a message to my mouth and say, respond on what you see. The same thing with my ears. If something goes in my ears process it and send it to my brain and say, this is what we hear. What do you think about it? And so everything that happens through my eyesight and my ears and the things that come out of my mouth and what I feel is all based upon what's in my brain, what's in my mind, right? So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they're standing here before King Nebuchadnezzar and they see that this king is for real. They hear, if you don't bow, you will be thrown in the fiery furnace. Okay? And I'm pretty sure if it's in the room, they can feel the heat from the furnace. So all of these things are going on and being sent to their brain. In some way, the brain's response is, so what? I don't know that's the correct response here. Fire's real, it hurts, it burns. So my question then is, what is it that allows this to be their response? The first thing that I would like to challenge you on today is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had a made-up mind that they were going to give God their very best. Meaning, before they even got in this place and before they were even threatened with being thrown in this fiery furnace, they had made up in their mind that they were going to give God their very best. So when they got here and their eyes were sending all these messages about what they were seeing, and they were hearing the king's word, and they were feeling everything that was going on around them, it didn't matter because it had already been said, it had already been done, it had already been proclaimed in their mind that they were going to give God their very best. And in this moment, their very best was not backing down, not bowing down, and trusting that even if they had to die in this fire today, God was still worthy to be praised. I believe that is the challenge for all of us today, especially as a young person. Is when we come to that point to where we're challenged in life, and usually we can get through the I'll trust God part, my God is able part. It's the but if he doesn't deliver me part that really gets us. It's the if he doesn't come through part that really gets us. And we have to be careful in our willingness to pray that, because if we actually say, Lord, I believe that it's worth it even if you don't, there's a very real chance that he won't. At least not in the way that you expect. And so it's all about what you put in your mind and the strength of your mind and your mind's ability to know God and to trust God, and then send that message to the rest of the body. I found myself a young 18-year-old private first class in what we call Uncle Sam's Army back in 2010. And I was in basic training at Fort Jackson in South Carolina, and we had what they would call smoke sessions. Now, in these smoke sessions, they call them smoke sessions because by the end of it, your body was smoking. Right? And so there's this one day where we're in this barrack, we're in this room where all our bunk beds are, and for whatever reason, there probably was no reason, we were getting smoked. And the way this works is drill sergeant comes in, he either announces his reason or he doesn't announce his reason, and he said, platoon, up 10, go! Front line represents move. And then you drop down in the push-up position. And he says, NK9. And everybody repeats, NK9. And he says, exercise. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. And so you do that for so long, and when you get tired, you either sag in the middle or you stretch your back, arch your back, but you can't go to your knees, and you can't rest your arms. So you got to keep pushing, right? And so I'm tired. Listen, at 18 years old, I stayed away from athletic ability, okay? Bed is a sport, but it's so ain't football, okay? And so I'm not in the best shape of my life, I'll be honest. And so I'm in there, and I'm tired, and I'm struggling. And drill sergeant sees me resting. He said, what's wrong with you, boy? You tired? I said, nah, drill sergeant. He said, well, keep pushing. I said, all right, drill sergeant. And I keep pushing. And he looked at me and he said, your body won't quit unless your mind tells it to. Now keep pushing, and he walks off, and I go back to rest. But he said, your body won't quit unless your mind tells it to. That's right. And that has stuck with me throughout the rest of my life. Because it goes to show the importance of the strength of your mind. Even God instructs us to guard our hearts and to guard our minds. He tells us that we're responsible for what we see and for what we hear and how we process it, because He knows that if we don't have a made-up mind to serve Him, to trust Him, then we resort back to that comfortable place where the devil is trying to rock us to sleep. Y'all thank my 6-week-old niece for my comfort place today. But this is what happens. They're standing before King Nebuchadnezzar, and they've got two options. Either you make up your mind to serve God, or you bow like everybody else and be comfortable. Listen, we can't serve God in this box. That's right. That's right. We can't serve God in this comfortable place. That's right. To be honest, there's not enough room in here for anybody but me. And God knows that. In your comfortable place, in that comfort zone, it's all about you. It's all about your feelings. It's all about what you see. It's all about what you hear. It's all about you. Come on now. Come on. And God can't use you if you're all about you. That's right. That's right. And it takes everything in you to get out of this place and give God your very best. Yeah. So the very first thing that we have to do today is we have to make up in our mind that we're going to give God our very best. Can we do that? Yes. All right. So we're going to move forward. The second thing, we've got to make up in our mind to give God our very best, because it's going to get hot. You remember when they said, but if He doesn't? Well, sort of, kind of, He actually doesn't, and they kind of get thrown into the fire. And so, let's check that out. So, starting in verse 19, it says, then Nebuchadnezzar was filled with fury, and the expression of his face was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He ordered the furnace heated 7 times more than it was usually heated. And he ordered some of the mighty men of his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound into their coats, and their other garments, and they were thrown into the burning fiery furnace. Excuse me. Because the king's order was urgent, and the furnace overheated, the flame of the fire killed those men who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And those 3 men fell, bound into the burning fiery furnace. 24. Then King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished, and rose up in haste. He declared to his counselors, "Did we not cast 3 men bound into the fire?" They answered and said, "The king, true, O king." He answered and said, "But I see 4 men walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt." So, they really do get thrown into the fire. It really does look like God didn't deliver. I mean, at least to us, God delivering them would look like them not having to go in the fire, right? But there are a lot of things that we can take away from this. So, do I have any bakers in the house? Anybody like to bake? All right. So, what is the very first thing that you do in the process of baking? You turn on the oven, preheat the oven. And then what do you wait for it to do? You wait for it to heat up. You wait for it to heat. And then what happens after that? You got the ingredients all mixed up, and you're going to take it and you're going to put it in the oven, right? And then what does the heat do to the cake or the cookie? It makes it rise. Ooh, I like that. Who said that? That was good right there. It makes it rise. But it gets them ready for what they were made for. It gets them ready for their purpose. And that's the way we got to look at this fire. Look, watch this. So, it says that he ordered the furnace heated 7 times more than it was usually heated. Now, I've read this passage many times. It's a very popular story in church, so I've heard it many times before. I even had the pleasure, at one of the churches I was at in South Carolina, we did a play, and I like sang the narration, and then the actors acted it out as I sang the narration and all that stuff. It was pretty cool. But even then, I didn't think about the significance of it being heated 7 times hotter. Why 7 times? Why not 5? I mean, you so big and bad, why not 20? What was the significance of the 7? And if you go back to Genesis, you see that God is creating and he's working and shaping and saying, let there be, and he's putting together the world. And then it says on the 7th day he rested. Why? Because it was finished. Because it was complete. Because it was ready. Amen. And so the number 7 represents completion. It represents something being done and ready. And so the fact that this fire had to be heated 7 times hotter means that once it got to that temperature, it was ready for God to step in and move on their behalf. It was at that point, it had gotten to the point to where the red light came on or the buzzer went off, it said ding, and that's how you know it's ready. It's time for them to be put in. And the beautiful part about all of this is the guards that threw them in died. But it says that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were in the fire, walking around. Why? Because that fire was tailor-made for them. That fire was perfect, just for them. Anybody else that would have been thrown in there, anybody else that would have gotten too close, would have died, would not have been able to handle it. But it was made just for them. So what that means is, when you're going through life and you're trying to figure out why things are happening, when you're already struggling, when you're trying to figure out why it's already hot in your life, and things seem to be getting 7 times hotter, so don't worry about it. That's God saying, look, I'm getting things ready. I'm getting ready to move. I'm getting ready to step in and do something that only I can. But you got to remember, if our mind isn't made up and we're stuck in that comfort box, we never get to this place. There is no fiery furnace if they bow out. So they had to go through this. They had to be thrown in. They had to have this experience. Your fire was tailor-made just for you. I can't imagine going through some of the things that some of you have been through in your life. Why? Because it wasn't for me. I would have lost my mind had I been in some of the situations that some of you have been in. But it wasn't for me. It was tailor-made just for you. That's why you look around and you see everybody else look like they got it better, or nobody else seems to be going through things the way that you're going through things. Why? And that's not for them. God is doing a work in you that is only for you. I know it's hot. I know it's hurt. It hurts. I know you're tired of being disappointed. I know you're tired of having to be the only one standing in a world where everybody is bowing out. But what God has for you is just for you. He says, I won't put no more on you than you can bear. So when you get to that point and you feel like you're about to break, don't worry about it. God knows you're breaking point. He knows what you can handle. He knows what 7 times harder looks like in your life. But you've got to get there. Because it's at that place, at that point, that you're ready for God to move. Amen? All right. So, the last thing to this. So we got to make up our minds to give God our best. Why? Because it's going to get hot. But the end goal is worth it. Verse 25. He answered and said, but I see 4 men unbound, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt. And the appearance of the 4th is like a son of the gods. Verse 26, then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the door of the burning fiery furnace, and he declared, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out and come here. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out from the fire, and the satraps, the prefects, the governors, and the king's counselors gathered together and saw that the fire had not had any power over the bodies of those men. The hair of their heads were not singed, their cloaks were not harmed, and no smell of fire had come upon them. Nebuchadnezzar answered and said, blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants who trusted in him and set aside the king's command and yielded up their bodies rather than serve and worship any other God except their own God. Can I tell you that this is the best part of the story? I look at it like a movie. You know, when we watch a movie, you go in and you got all the previews, and it shows you all the things that's going on. It shows you some things that are coming out and some things that you may be interested in. And then it gets to that screen where either the voice comes on or it pops up on the screen and it says, and now, our featured presentation. The moment that you've all been waiting for. This here is what you came for. The part where King Nebuchadnezzar comes to realize that their God is the real God. That's the best part of the story. That should be our hope. That should be the driving force of everything that we do, is hoping and praying that someone at our school, someone at our job comes to enter into a relationship with Christ because of the one that dwells within us. Listen, we got to give it to them. When they said, but if God doesn't deliver us, that was nice, wasn't it? That was nice. When they got to that place that he actually threw them in the fire, that was good. That was real good. And then when Jesus went in and it was 4 men instead of 3, oh, come on, movie of the year, right? That's right. But the very best part is when everybody there, all of their co-workers, even the ones that told on them, had the opportunity to see that they were for real. Their God is for real. And that's us. Yeah, the fire comes with it. There's no, I know some of us, we sit here and like, well, this is good, Lord, this is good. I wonder if there's anybody to take the fire part out. I like this though. I like it. But the fire's got to stay. The fire's got to stay. Listen, I've got a video I'd like to show you, and then we're gonna talk about it, right?
So, Coach, how strong is Westview this year?
A lot stronger than we are.
You're
already written Friday night down as a loss, Brock?
Well, not if I knew we could beat them.
Come here, Brock. You too, Jerry.
What, am I in trouble now?
Not yet. I want to see you do the death crawling unit, except I want to see your absolute best.
What, you only go to 30?
I think you go to 50.
50. I can go to 50 if nobody's on my back.
I think you can do it with Jeremy on your back. But even if you can, I want you to promise me you're going to do your best.
All right.
Your best.
Okay.
You going to give me your best?
I'm going to give you my best.
All right, one more thing. I want you to do it blindfolded.
Why?
Because I want you giving up at a certain point when you can go further. Get down. Jeremy, get on his back. Get a good tight hold, Jeremy. All right. Let's go, Brock. Keep your knees off the ground. Just your hands and feet. There you go. A little bit left. There you go. Jeremy, good effort. That way, Brock. Keep coming. There you go. It's a good start. A little bit left. A little bit left. There you go, Brock. Good strength. That's it, Brock. That's it.
Not the 20 yet.
Forget the 20. You give me your best. You keep going. That's it. No, don't stop, Brock. You got more in you than that.
Hey, just rest in a second.
You got to keep moving. Let's keep moving. Let's go. Don't quit till you got nothing left. There you go. Keep moving. Keep moving. Keep moving, Brock. That's it. You keep driving. Keep your knees off the ground. Keep driving. Your very best. Your very best. Your very best. Keep moving, Brock. That's it. That's it. That's it. Keep going. Don't quit on me. Keep going. Keep driving. Keep driving. Keep your knees off the ground. That's it. Your very best. Don't quit on me. Your very best. Keep driving. Keep driving. There you go. There you go. That's it. You keep driving. Keep your knees off the ground. Keep driving. Don't quit until you got nothing left. Keep moving, Brock. That's it. That's it. That's it. Keep going. I want everything you got. Come on. Keep going. It hurts. Don't quit on me. Your very best. Keep driving. Keep driving. There you go. There you go.
He's heavy.
I know he's heavy.
I'm flat out of strength.
You negotiate with your body to find more strength, but don't you give up on me, Brock. You keep going. You hear me? You keep going. You're doing good. You keep going. You're not 12. You keep going. I know it hurts. You keep going. You keep going. It's all hard from here. 30 more steps. You keep going, Brock. Come on. Keep going. And let it burn. It's all hard. You keep going, Brock. Come on. Come on. Keep going. You probably your best. Your best. Don't stop. Keep going. It's not too hard. You keep going. Come on, Brock. Give me more. Give me more. Keep going. 20 more steps. 20 more. Keep going. Give me your best. Don't quit. No. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Don't quit. Don't quit. Don't quit. Brock Kelly, you don't quit. Keep going. Keep going. No, Brock Kelly, you don't quit on me. No, you keep going. You keep going. No, 10 more steps. 10 more. 10 more. 10 more. Keep going. Don't quit. Give me yours. You can. You can. 5 more. 5 more. Come on, Brock. Come on. Don't quit. Don't quit. Come on, Brock. 2 more. 1 more. Look up, Brock. You're in the end zone. Brock, you are the most influential player on this team. If you walk around defeated, so will they. Don't tell me you can't give me more than what I've been seeing. You just carried a 140-pound man across this whole field in your arms. Brock, I need you. God's gifted you with the ability of leadership. Don't waste it.
Coach?
Can I count on you?
Yes. Coach?
What is it, Jeremy? 160.
So you get it, right? Some of you are in that place and you've been going for a long time. Load has been heavy for a long time. Fire has been hot for a long time. But the beauty, the joy of standing before God one day and says, listen, Lord, this has to be the 50. This has to be the 50. I've lost everyone that I loved. I've been through all these things in my life. I just can't seem to get right. This has to be the 50. And he says, look up. You're in the end zone. You've scored. And anybody that knows anything about football, it's not enough to go to the 50-yard line. If your team, you was watching every Sunday and your team never made it past the 50-yard line, some of you will be pretty upset. Some of you right now are on TV number 2 because your team ain't been past the 50-yard line all season. It's unacceptable. You can't win games at the 50-yard line. You gotta go all the way. And what is scoring for us as Christians?
Come on now.
It's seeing others come to know Christ. Listen, I got my ticket. I believe wholeheartedly that I'm on my way in. But would I really stand before God and be like, ain't nobody else. I'm the pastor one. So you didn't bring anybody with you? There was a couple people back here that looked like they might need help. I prayed for them. I did. But going after them would have meant me going past the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
So I let that go. I prayed for them. I did. That's not enough. What you've done for the least of me is what you've done. And so I'm here to challenge you today to go beyond the 50-yard line. And I know that's hard. I promise you I do. I know that first step to the other side is the fiery furnace. I get it. But it's got to be made up in your mind. And that doesn't matter. If you throw me in this fire, I know I won't be alone. If you throw me in this fire, I know I serve a God that said he'd never leave me nor forsake me. If you throw me in this fire, I know that I serve a God that says no weapon formed against me would prosper. The fire is clear evidence that it formed, but the fact that I'm walking around in it is also clear evidence that it did not prosper. I have no idea what you're going through in your life today. But can I tell you what's important? Is that you're not alone. And when you get to the end of it, someone else will be right there behind you. When you punch in your ticket, they're going to punch in their ticket. Because you took the time to realize that the fire, even at 7 times hotter, was not too much for God. It was not too much for God. So we need to make that step today. Too many times we pick and choose. We say, well, Lord, I'll be Moses and I can part the Red Sea, but I can't be Daniel in the lion's den. I heard someone say the other day, they could be Moses up until they had to put down the staff and it turned into a snake. He said that would have been the end for him. He would have been out. And that's how we are. We've got limits. It's the 50-yard line, Lord. The rest of that is outside of my box. It's outside of my comfort zone. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do today. Is all hearts and heads are bowed. I'm going to ask that